The human connection. We're all connected. It's a magnificent thing. The Soulmarks portrait is about that connection. All we're doing is opening a door. I've trained myself intuitively to pick up on that soul dance, that little magical moment. The soul's journey, it's a wonderful thing. But really, the longest journey that I ever took was the one from head to heart. But I knew if I wanted to really, truly connect with people at a deep level, I had to address my own issues, the issues in my own life, and the ones that start with birth. And I think all of us, if we're honest, come from some sort of dysfunction. But I think all the books at the bookstore were written about my family. I had the mom that was the saint, that was the gentle soul, the mother of 6, and my father who was the hardest working man I've ever known, but wouldn't be considered he wouldn't have been the sensitive man of any century, certainly the one that I lived in. So from that, I had quite a contrast, and I found as I grew older, I was about half my mom and half my dad, just a little sprinkle of myself, just a few percent, and I wanted to be myself. So I began to embrace that path within, face all my own demons. And I was advised by a very wise woman once. She said, Joe, if you'll go within, if you will look within, you will like about 90% of what you find. And about 10% you won't like and you can change. But if you just start trying to change without truly being honest with yourself, you'll never be able to change because you won't know what to change. So just really be honest with yourself. Take that long look at yourself and then change from there. So in the beginning of Soulmarks, that's what I did. Instead of going out and trying to change the world as I wish to do now, I first set out to change myself. And it was a gut-wrenching journey, but very, very rewarding. The journey from photographer to artist has been a very fascinating one. How did it all begin? If I had to pick one specific instant, I would think of a time I was teaching and the coordinator of models came to me. Now, imagine a one-week seminar where several teachers gather together and they just coordinate the local population to be the models, and so it makes it a very real teaching experience and a very real learning experience for the students. And the coordinator of the models came to me and said, Joe, you have a class on photographing teenagers, but we have one lady here, and we wondered if you'd photograph her. I said, certainly. I said, well, she's out of the age group, and said, really, she's not that attractive. But maybe we thought you would be kind enough just to take 1 or 2 photographs of her, and I'll send her on her way. And I said, well, that'll be fine. And in those days before digital, we used Polaroid to test our camera. So I made a couple of images of her and I showed them to the lady, and she kind of she wasn't really someone that smiled much, but you could tell she felt kind of good about those photographs because they were better illuminated than she had seen and so on. And I took a few more, but there was a person in the class and I overheard them say, I hope that he gets her out of here. and he was indicating that he did not think she was very attractive. And in this very tragic time in my life, and I won't tell you it was a very soulful time because I was very angry and so on, but there was something that happened when I overheard him, and I thought, nope, she'll stay all morning. And so I continued just to take photographs, pull the Polaroids off, show them to her, show them to the class. And I did it all afternoon. I did it all the next day and the next. And I just continued to photograph this person. Probably prompted a lot by what he said. I thought, how tragic that you would say that about another person. But the interesting thing was, I returned to that town somewhat around a year later, and they said, there's someone that wants to talk with you. And I walked in, and there was this person there whom I did not know. But I should have known her. I'd photographed her for 3 days. She said, you know, Joe, I was never very attractive, and I knew it. I just needed a picture to give to my family. I couldn't afford a photograph, and I could get a free picture for modeling, so I was going to humiliate myself and just model, just to get a free picture so I'd have a gift for my family. But because you sat there and you did that, you know, just hour after hour, day after day, I thought, if he thinks that much of me, I'm going to change my life. And I'm telling you, she looked 10 years younger. She was very beautiful. She brought her children along. She brought her new maid along, her new partner along. It was just a most fascinating time to see how one could change if you just continually reached out to them. That was a very defining moment for me. If you will, it was the beginning of Soulmarks. I saw the power of photography to heal. When I create a collection of photographs, I like to think of it as a story. And what I'm doing is I'm telling a story of truth, transcendence, and triumph. Because it's the human ability to transcend over tragedy and triumph. That's what makes us human. So I try to take the collection of photographs and tell a story. Why a story? Well, honestly, we've all listened to stories. It may be the story our parents told about us, maybe a teacher. The story may be a good story, the story may not be so good of a story. But the truth is, it may not be your story anyway. So if I can capture some images of you, and you will be vulnerable, and let the lens, and let's open yourself up to the lens, and let me capture that little moment that I call it, that little decisive moment, that little time of magic. And then if you looked at a collection of those photographs, you'd see a story of your life, if you would. A true story, your story. Not the one that someone else told you, but yours.
Joe Craig has an incredible, canny ability to freeze in time that emotion. You know, that he has a way of capturing that and bringing it out and making not just us, but the kids, they feel so comfortable with him around, and so that they let their guard down, and he's able to capture that. And then we're able to enjoy it for year after year.
Perfect.
For me, as a mother, and a daughter-in-law and a wife, I mean, we have all of our extended family here today. We're all at a unique spot right now. We're all very thankful we're here. We've had some rough times since we saw Joe health-wise. It's such a joy to have everybody here and together, especially your mom and dad, to be together. It's real, real special. And we're in a real new phase with our kids. Our oldest that Joe, you know, has taken pictures of since he was little bitty, driving now, had lots of milestones happening in our lives. And so it was huge to me to get this all captured right where we are, because it's all going so fast. I want to slow down. And I kind of feel like today, with doing these reflection things he's done of each child individually, I've got it now. I've got where we are today. It's a marker, and that meant a lot to me.
And I think we've we've matured as Joe's style has matured. That's what's really unique. Some of these pictures that you see up and down the halls here, and he's captured that moment. And like Jenny said, that's when the kids are young and carefree, and now as they're older and their responsibilities are more, it's almost as if Joe's grown as we've grown. And so when he comes in today, a different style, but one that really captures where they are and we are in life as a family. It's incredible. I don't know how he does it.
The Soulmarks movement is all about looking past ourselves, stepping away from ourselves and saying, you're okay. I may or may not want to have a relationship with you, but I accept you just the way you are. I honor you. Everybody says, I want respect. Respect's a wonderful thing, but respect is something that we earn. So if I say to you, I respect you, I first had to judge you. On the other hand, if I say, I honor you, it takes no judgment whatsoever. It's just a choice. There are 3 unconditionals in my world. They are love, honor, and truth. Truth, obviously, is either truth or it's not truth. Well, so is love. Love is unconditional, just like truth, but so is honor. So when I get ready to photograph somebody, I just say, I'm going to honor you just where you are. Wherever you are, I'm okay. But I also hope to connect with you and let you be all yourself. Because we're all many, many different people. We're different, not as in schizophrenia, but we're different people. We have different moods. If I do a collection and I do it right, I want to show solemn, I want to show laughter. But ultimately, I don't want to tell you to do any of that. I just want you to feel. I want you to laugh. I want you to cry. I want you to do whatever. And I just want to record those moments, like I say, with no judgment. And then let you look at your whole series. And I will guarantee you, if you come before my lens, you will love yourself. You will look at those and you'll love them. And what's also important is that the people that see those, that are your family and friends, they'll say, I saw you do that 1,000,000 times, because we're photographing truth. On the other hand, if the photographer chooses to pose you and put a certain, orchestrate this event without letting you be yourself, then we'll have a record of your face, or a record of your face with your clothes or whatever. But we're trying to make a record of the soul. And I say, when I do the perfect portrait, whether it's one photograph or a series of several hundred photographs, I want them to do one thing. As an individual image or as a collection of images, I want them to tell your story. And how I came to that conclusion is I believe the soul is timeless. So if I connect with you, and I really do a soul connection, when you look at this photograph, you're going to see every good day and every not so good day of your entire life. You're going to see it all there, because the soul has no time. I want you to look at your photograph, and I want you to see you when you're a little child. I want you to see yourself at the present moment, and and I want you to see yourself wise in old age. And I think that's a remarkable thing. And we've been able to do it literally for thousands of people, so I know it can be done. Soulmarks is a spiritual journey. I hope it's a spiritual journey for everyone who sees my photographs and everyone who experiences a portrait that I make. Oh, wow.
Hold it. Look down, baby. Right there. You weren't even going to be in the photograph. Now you have to be. Here we go. Good.
There we go. Good. Let's look at it. Perfect. I can think of a time when I was photographing this very powerful businessman, and I told him what we were going to do. I told him because he just had a moment of time, and I tell him this is what we're going to do, and he's okay, but I don't think he really meant okay. He was just like, get this over with. But I took 2 or 3 images and I showed them to him, and he really saw this, and he just looked at the depth of himself, and I said, aren't you wonderful? I don't talk any different to a man or a woman. And then I took a couple of more photographs, and then I noticed a little tear come into his eye. And then another frame or two, and this has all happened probably in less than a minute's time, and he reached up and he grabbed my arm and he just took my wrist like this, and he said, this is not about pictures, is it? And I said, it can be about anything you want it to be. And then I took a couple more photographs, and he took a couple more sips of wine. And then I just stopped the photographs and I said, did you want to talk? And he said, yeah, I really did. And he told me his life story, and he said, I have something I want to ask you about. Now, why would a man that's a perfect stranger ask me the question of his life? Because I opened the door. All I did was allowed myself to be vulnerable, which took the walls down so we could connect, so he had a place to communicate. Once again, that's what unconditional love is. It's just a point of connection. It says, you know, it's just open. You're safe here. This is a safe place to be. Because the person on the opposite side of the lens has to really, really trust the image maker. They have to really trust them. And that's why we try to remove all gimmicks from photographs, those cliches that we so often see. We just try to connect with the person, make it a photograph of them. You'll see a lot of my photographs that I'll cut in extremely close, just so it draws the attention just into the eyes, because you see, the eyes are the window to the soul. think of the family photographs, I don't mean the ones on the walls. I mean all the little snapshots. Do you remember where they were kept? Were they in an album? Were they in a shoebox? Were they in a drawer in your parents' bedroom? I bet you can remember. And when did you get them out? You got them out every good day and every bad day of life. When there was a wedding, when there was a funeral, the family got the photographs out and they shared them. They spread them out on the table and they told family stories. Soulmarks is just a continuation of that same thought. It is a professional version of the family snapshot, if you will. We just reach into the soul and capture it. People have done it for generations. They've just taken cameras, and when people are laughing, they snap a picture. It may have been standing by a tree or something kind of cheesy, but well, nonetheless, would you get rid of that photograph? I don't think so. What if the person's eyes were blinked? Would you throw it away? Not at all. So take your camera, capture the moments in life. Do it with your cell phone, a point and shoot camera. If you want a professional camera, you can have one like mine. You saw me use it. It's not really about the camera. It's about you and your connection to your family and to your friends. What you're doing is leaving your legacy. Your photographs help you remember. They help you put together the past. They allow you to create a life story so you can pass it on for generation to generation. The human connection, it's a magnificent thing. That's what a Soulmarks portrait is a connection. All of us are connected. All I'm doing in the Soulmark portrait is opening the door so the souls can dance. And then it's that little decisive second, if you will, millisecond, whatever. It's just that little thing that we call it. It just happens. Everyone wants to feel important. Everyone wants to be significant. So we try to validate that significance. We try to make images that when someone looks at them, they feel good about themselves. When they share them with others, the other person says, I want to know you. Who are you? What are you about? We're helping people leave their legacies, but we're also helping people embrace who they are here and now. We don't ask anyone to change. Unconditional love simply means you can be exactly who you want to be. No change is necessary. Amy and Dave are a most remarkable young couple with an amazing story of love and hope. We gathered at the home of Amy's parents to celebrate life. We created a Soulmarks series that tells a powerful story of a family of unwavering faith.
For us, they're kind of victory photographs. Because Amy was sick when we first got married and the doctor said that we would never be able to have children, this was after all of that was done. 2 years after Nathan is born, things are going well, life is good, and so it's kind of the victory after all the hard stuff. For us, it's not just pictures, which we do consider them artwork on our walls. I mean, a lot of the images on our walls are photographs rather than artwork. We love artwork that has meaning. There's one of our son Nathan, and there's one of Amy that are my favorites. It's not a picture of my son or a picture of my wife, it is my son. That's my wife.
It just brings back memories, particularly the one of Dad reading on the stairs, and how that's just him. I mean, he's always reading the Bible and sitting there reading the Bible to us or reading to my mom.
We've had pictures taken almost every year in my family, but nothing like this. This is just so totally different. The message and the style of Soulmarks is not limited to one culture. It's universal to mankind. It's what's important to every person. And when you're sincere about accepting someone where they are, when you are patient enough to get to know someone, even in that short time during a photography session, and when you are professional enough to know how to capture those images, it's universal. It's like classical music is, that you can take it to any culture and they understand it, they get it. I think the thing that we appreciate most about the Soulmarks images is that they're true, they're genuine.
The Soulmarks journey, the journey to unconditional love. For me, it's been 12 years now, and each day I feel like I'm a little closer. Each day I realize how many people there are to touch. But that day, this day we have, this is the most important day because we don't know if we'll have the other ones. So rather than plan so far out in the future, I try to capture something of significance each and every day to make a difference in someone's life. Maybe I take a photograph, or maybe I simply say a kind word, but I try to leave a soul mark with everyone I encounter. Soulmarks, my word for what I do. The soul is timeless as we stop and stand in silence, as we embrace unconditional love, as we look deep into the eyes of another, we will see God.